Coca-Cola is more than just a drink. It's a piece of Americana, a fizzy thread running through the fabric of everyday life in the United States. For generations, the familiar red and white logo has been a symbol of comfort, celebration, and togetherness. From the first sip at a summer picnic to the clink of bottles at family gatherings, Coca-Cola has been there, marking moments big and small. Its presence is woven into the rituals of American life, a constant companion at dinner tables, barbecues, and ball games. The sound of a bottle opening is almost as familiar as laughter among friends. Coca-Cola isn't just a beverage, it's a symbol of optimism and unity, sponsoring everything from local Little League games to the grandeur of the Olympics. Its branding is everywhere, a reminder of shared dreams and community spirit. So, when the shocking news broke in 2025 about factory closures and sweeping layoffs, it felt like more than just a business decision. It felt like a betrayal of trust. Communities that had relied on Coca-Cola for decades suddenly faced an uncertain future. Headlines blared stories of closures and mass layoffs, leaving a bitter taste in the mouths of those who had grown up with the brand. Cafes and living rooms buzzed with disbelief and concern as people tried to make sense of the loss. For thousands of workers, a job at Coca-Cola wasn't just a paycheck. It was a source of stability, pride, and identity. Generations of families had built their lives around the company, passing down stories and traditions. The thought of those iconic red trucks disappearing from small towns and highways was unthinkable. Their absence would leave a void, not just in the economy, but in the heart of American culture. For many, this wasn't just about business, it was deeply personal. Families, friends, and entire communities felt the impact, grappling with uncertainty and loss. The dilemma brought to light a profound conflict. How do we protect domestic industry and the livelihoods of American workers, while also meeting the demands of a global business landscape? The crisis forced Americans to take a hard look at the complexities of our economy, the balance between tradition and progress, and what it truly means when an icon goes flat. What sent Coca-Cola into a tailspin? The answer is surprisingly simple: tariffs. But while the idea behind tariffs might seem straightforward, the ripple effects they create can be anything but. In the case of Coca-Cola, a single policy decision set off a chain reaction that no one fully anticipated. Tariffs are essentially taxes placed on imported goods, designed to make foreign products more expensive and encourage consumers and businesses to buy American-made alternatives. The goal is to protect domestic industries and jobs, but the reality is often far more complicated. In 2025, the US government imposed a massive 50% tariff on imported aluminum and steel. This was one of the highest tariffs in recent history, and it sent shockwaves through industries that rely on these metals. The intention was clear: help American metal producers by making foreign metals less competitive. But instead of a manufacturing renaissance, the policy triggered a series of unintended consequences that rippled across the economy. For companies like Coca-Cola, which depend on vast amounts of aluminum for their cans, the cost of raw materials skyrocketed almost overnight. Suddenly, what seemed like a simple tax became a major threat to their bottom line. The tariff didn't just make imported aluminum more expensive, it also drove up the price of domestic aluminum, as suppliers saw an opportunity to raise their own prices. The result? A squeeze on manufacturers from all sides. This is the paradox of protectionism. While it aims to save certain jobs, it can end up putting many more at risk. Higher costs force companies to cut back, lay off workers, or even shut down operations. The impact wasn't limited to Coca-Cola. Automakers, appliance manufacturers, and countless other businesses that rely on steel and aluminum all felt the pinch. The price increases rippled through the supply chain, affecting everything from cars to kitchen appliances to your favorite soft drink. For Coca-Cola, the tariff was like a financial bomb going off. The company found itself at the epicenter, struggling to absorb the sudden surge in costs while trying to keep prices reasonable for consumers. In the end, the story of Coca-Cola and the 2025 tariffs is a powerful lesson in the unintended consequences of economic policy. What starts as a simple idea can quickly spiral into a complex web of challenges, affecting businesses, workers, and consumers alike. The aluminum can, often overlooked, is crucial for beverages. Lightweight, durable, and recyclable, it's essential for Coca-Cola. The 2025 tariffs disrupted this system, creating a severe shortage. Domestic aluminum couldn't meet demand, and prices soared. Coca-Cola couldn't absorb a 50% cost increase for cans. Building new smelters isn't quick or cheap. The tariffs exposed a supply chain vulnerability. Protecting raw aluminum producers hurt industries using aluminum. Jobs from canning lines to transport were at risk. The can became a symbol of flawed economic strategy. It highlighted the complexity of interconnected industries. Coca-Cola faced three terrible options due to cost spikes. The company was caught in a difficult position, with each potential solution carrying significant drawbacks. The rising costs of raw materials and production were squeezing their profit margins, forcing them to make a tough decision. Absorb costs, risking financial health, or pass them to consumers. Absorbing the costs would mean taking a hit on their bottom line, potentially leading to financial instability. On the other hand, passing these costs on to consumers could result in higher prices for their products. Price hikes could alienate customers, damaging market share. Loyal customers might turn to cheaper alternatives, leading to a decline in sales and a loss of market share. This was a significant risk for a brand that had built its reputation on affordability and accessibility. The third option, change production, either moving abroad or switching to plastic. Moving production to countries with lower costs could save money but would have other repercussions. Moving meant job losses. Plastic meant environmental harm. Shifting production overseas could lead to significant job losses in the US, affecting thousands of workers and their families. Alternatively, switching to cheaper plastic packaging could have severe environmental consequences. Each choice had severe consequences. The company was in a bind with no easy way out. Every option seemed to lead to a negative outcome, whether it was financial instability, loss of customer loyalty, job losses, or environmental damage. Absorbing costs was unsustainable, risking investor confidence. Investors were already jittery, and any sign of financial trouble could lead to a drop in stock prices, further complicating the company's situation. Passing costs to consumers risked losing loyal customers. The company had to consider the long-term impact on its brand and customer base. Would customers remain loyal if prices went up? Moving production threatened American jobs. The social impact of such a move could not be ignored. Job losses would not only affect the workers but also the communities that depended on these jobs. Switching to plastic endangered the environment. The environmental cost of increased plastic use was another major concern. The company had to weigh the immediate financial benefits against long-term environmental damage. Coca-Cola's dilemma was a stark choice between bad options. The leadership team was under immense pressure to make the right decision, knowing that each option had its own set of severe consequences. It was a lose-lose situation for the company and its stakeholders. No matter what choice they made, someone would be adversely affected, making it one of the toughest decisions in the company's history. Shifting from aluminum to plastic was alarming. Coca-Cola, already a top plastic polluter, faced backlash. Environmental groups saw it as a step backward. The company had abandoned green promises, worsening its image. Critics argued tariffs were an excuse for more plastic use. Health risks from plastic bottles added to concerns. Chemicals in PET plastic posed potential health threats. The shift prioritized profits over public well-being. It highlighted the hypocrisy of policies harming the environment. The choice between aluminum and plastic symbolized broader dilemmas. Coca-Cola's factory closures in 2025 hit hard. Nearly 900 workers lost jobs, impacting entire communities. Towns like American Canyon faced economic decline. Local businesses suffered, creating a domino effect. The tax base shrank, affecting public services. Stable careers vanished, forcing tough family choices. The social fabric frayed as opportunities dwindled. Tariffs intended to protect jobs ended up destroying them. The closures were a stark reminder of policy consequences. Economic decisions have real-world impacts on lives and communities. Coca-Cola's saga is a cautionary tale in a global economy. Tariffs on metals affected many industries, not just one. Costs rose for automakers, appliance makers, and construction. Protectionist policies often hurt consumers and workers. Higher raw material costs made U.S. products less competitive. Trade isn't zero-sum, global supply chains are complex. Abrupt changes can cause system failures. Coca-Cola's dilemma showed the tension between nationalism and globalization. Policies must consider complex realities, not just ideology. True strength lies in strategic global engagement, not isolation.